So winter anime is in full effect, and we got some pretty big hitters with things like Solo Leveling, Mashle, Frieren, and also Undead Unluck, but maybe you missed a few things from the fall season, and that's what we're going to be catching you up on in today's video. And hey, if you didn't see actually on the other channel, we actually did one over the summer anime that you might have skipped that you shouldn't have, so if you're interested in that, make sure to go check that out. As you know, we typically do gaming content on this channel, but we also like anime. We watch a lot of anime, and you know, I gotta share it with y'all. So this is definitely gonna be opinion based, but this is my anime you shouldn't have skipped from the fall season, and these are all going to be first season, so they're not going to be any, you know, sequels or anything like that, because we want this to be something that you can just hop into and just start watching. So if this thing you think you might be interested in, make sure to like, comment, subscribe, turn the bell so you can see future videos that we make like this, and let's just go ahead and hop straight into this video. So there's definitely a few that could have made this list, but we didn't put it on there because we want to give you the best recommendations and the animes that are the most unique and, you know, the most different. And this is going to be a combination of, you know, romance, action, mystery, horror. There's going to be a little bit of, you know, a little bit of everything on here. But when we get into the first one, maybe something that you've known before, it's going to be Rouroni Kenshin. And basically you could technically count this one as a summer anime, but it continued into the fall season, so we'll list it here. This anime has around 20 something episodes. So this is a remake of a popular anime from the late 90s. The story follows Kenshin, aka Batosai, a wandering swordsman who killed many people in the past, but now at this point in his life has turned his sword away from killing and towards helping others as a way to atone for his sins. The show involves a lot of references towards real places and events in Japanese history. I won't lie, at times it can be hard to follow if you don't know much military jargon, but the show tries to keep you up to date with the political and social issues that are present in the world of Rouroni Kenshin. You would think this show would have, you know, more serious tone at times, but it does a good job of balancing the goofy and happy times with, you know, some badass sword fights. It's interesting to see how Kenshin overcomes each foe, with all of them, you know, having their own unique fighting styles with swords and various weapons, from assassins to vigilantes and many more, with a great supporting cast also. Rouroni Kenshin really throws you into its world while also teaching you some history about swordsmanship. If you like an anime with cool sword fighting scenes, a funny cast, and an underlying plot that creeps up on you as the story progresses, you have to give this a shot. This show also does a great job of keeping their mini arcs short and sweet, preventing viewers from getting bored with the same villain. And this anime has already, you know, got announced that they're going to be getting a season 2, so you'll be able to look forward to something in the future, but I recommend Rouroni Kenshin. When we move over to the next one, it's going to be one that you may have been hearing about. It's Undead Unluck, and this one is actually continuing into the winter season. And this one on the surface seems very shallow when you read the synopsis. An undead zombie-like character named Andy who has an encounter with Fuko, a cursed girl who brings misfortune to whoever comes into contact with her. This curse leads to Fuko losing her parents, while Andy on the other hand has a wish to die a horrible death. So Fuko's the perfect match for Andy. Seems simple enough, right? But there's a lot more to the story. We won't spoil that for you. The story has so much more underneath. What really will draw you into the show is definitely the unconventional pair of the two protagonists. And Andy also not having your typical, you know, shonen protagonist, all positivity personality. He's more rough around the edges and crazy for confrontation. This show has a decent amount of gore also if you like that, which is a plus. And also, truthfully speaking, the plot doesn't really get going till around episode 5. So you might need to give this a few episodes, and some time is needed. But if you're looking into getting into a shonen series that doesn't, you know, follow the conventional pattern, and, you know, that doesn't just have a clear line between the good and bad guys, I think this show is pretty good for you, and there's a high chance that, you know, you'll get it renewed for a season 2 with this one. The next one is going to be Frieren. And it'd be hard. I mean, like I said, I couldn't make this list without including this fantasy anime because it's just crazy how much this anime exploded from this season. When I first heard about this anime, I thought it had a similar feel to Your Eternity, if you've seen that one. And when I heard that, I was sold. And let me tell you, this show is pretty good. We've seen all the typical fantasy isekai type of stories where the main objective is to defeat the Demon King or some kind of evil sorcerer. But what happens after the battle? That's where Frieren picks up. This show follows the main character Frieren, an elf who was the mage in the legendary party that defeated the Demon King. Many decades in the future, now she is traveling around the world and retracing the memories and experiences from her past journey with her party, but this time with the addition of some new friends, while also getting more insight into the lives of humans. The story shows Frieren learning new things about herself, like her true emotions towards humans, the impact of relationships, and also the after effects of death. This show is amazing at storytelling, and even though it's not a strong part of the story, it does an amazing job with its fight scenes, giving you beautiful animation and an addictive soundtrack. If you even slightly enjoyed To Your Eternity and the journey to Fushi becoming human, you'll definitely enjoy this. The happy moments bring a smile to your face, the action scenes leave you in shock with the beautiful colors, and the sad moments really do hit you deep. I'd be tempted to call this anime of the season if it wasn't for Jujutsu Kaisen, because we know how much of a powerhouse that one was, but I definitely recommend you give Frieren a chance, especially if you enjoy fantasy.
歴史上で最も多くの魔族を葬り去った魔法使い早々のフリーレン
We move over to the next one. It's going to be Under Ninja.
誰に当たったかはわからない。どこにでもいるが、誰もわからない。
Now, before we get into this one, I'll start by saying this show definitely takes some time to get going. And I'd give it around 4 episodes, and if it doesn't have you then, it's more than likely not your thing. The story follows Kuro in modern Japan, where war still wages on, but not your conventional type of war. Now it's ninja warfare in the shadows. The government is aware of the existence of ninjas, and even has rules for how ninjas can operate in Japan. Kuro Kamagakure is assigned with infiltrating a school to get information about another organization. The animation and voice acting at times can be really rough and extremely funny in this show, and at times it can feel like you're watching a show on Adult Swim.
忍者だ。竿3本と聞いていたが、接触に成功した。いきます。
Hey yo, what the fuck?
But that's why we had to put this on the list, for how different, wacky, goofy, and just plain dumb this show can be at times. Truthfully speaking, the action scenes can, leave a lot more to be desired, considering this show is following ninjas. The show gives a good adult comedy with an underlying story that, sometimes gets going. I'm more so suggesting this for the goofiness of the characters and the different vibe of the world, and the intro is an absolute banger. If you like Adult Swim, adult comedy ninjas, or, just protagonists that can sometimes be a crappy person, but still has some badass moments, I recommend you give Under Ninja a try. Move over to the next one. This is actually our first romance on the list, because hey, we gotta sprinkle in a little bit of romance here and there. And this one's called Our Dating Story: The Inexperienced Me and the Experienced You. And for this one, for the romance drama, at least from what I watched this season, was a little bit down with not, following sequels. This show does enough to make you angry and keep you invested with each episode, though, while also not having a male protagonist that, just completely unbearable. The story follows Ryuto, a typical weeb that, doesn't seem like he'll ever have any type of interaction with the girl before the age of 30. After a dare with his friends, he's forced to ask out the hottest girl and most popular girl at his school, Runa, notoriously known for sleeping with all of her previous boyfriends. So to Ryuto's surprise, she says yes, and the story begins. More details about why she says yes in her story generally really do give you some more depth into her character. While this, show on the surface doesn't seem like much, it touches on a lot of concepts and relationship issues that cutesy animes like this tend to avoid to not dampen the mood. This really adds another layer to the show and makes you appreciate the female lead. This show also shows some real conflicts that happen with relationships, with some unexpected twists, some cute dates, a good dose of fan service, because that's going to be in there, and also some, relationship development. This show does enough to break itself away from just your typical slice of life, so if you enjoy romance or just having a little bit of that sprinkled in there, I recommend you give our dating story a try with this one. Move over to the next one. This one is like up there kind of on par with Frieren when it comes to, having potential to be one of the best ones of the seasons, and it's Apothecary Diaries. Now, just like My Happy Marriage, Apothecary Diaries is another Chinese-influenced anime that delivers on all the points you really need from an anime. This show is primarily a mystery with some romance if you can catch it, but don't expect much action from this, but we all need, some animes that don't just focus on action. The show follows Momo, a young apothecary assistant, working in a small district in an area. One day she is kidnapped and taken to the royal palace, where her life changes drastically. After failed attempts of, trying to lay low and not be noticed, she gets pulled into many mysteries that occur in the royal palace, because not only can she work with medicine, she's actually pretty good at solving mysteries. The soundtrack and animation of this show doesn't miss in any aspects, while also having an extremely engaging protagonist that gives you a really refreshing personality, with Momo being clever, caring, cunning, and just a little bit bratty at times as well. Seeing Momo get through all the issues and mysteries of the palace, also slowly learning about an underlying truth involving her as well. If you need a mystery, that's mixed with other things, this surely will leave you satisfied. And this is also another, like I said, contender for anime of the season, and Momo herself really carries this show with her personality. So the next one is a little bit of a weirder one, but I still had to put it on here just for the uniqueness of it, and it's going to be Migi Dali. Now, with this one it throws a decent amount of comedy into the story as well. The comedy is definitely an acquired taste, but it can definitely stick for most anime fans. One thing is definitely go in this show expecting more goofiness over serious mystery, but we all need these type of shows. So with Migi and Dali, it follows the story of Migi and Dali, two identical twins who were separated from their mother at a young age. Fast forward to the future, and they are now returning to the old town to investigate what happened to their mother. The catch with this show is Migi and Dali are adopted as a single child, with their parents being unaware of the existence of twins, because Migi and Dali basically are masters of deceptions and appear as one person while doing various tasks like eating, going to school, and cooking. You can definitely probably catch where the comedy comes from this one now. If you're looking for an anime to just sit down and laugh while, also seeing a mystery unravel as, the main characters navigate through various goofy obstacles, I think this one will be for you. And especially the voice acting when it comes to some of these scenes is absolutely hilarious. So the next one is actually one that probably would have done, a lot of better if it wasn't, considering some things, but we're going with Zom 100. And if this would have came out maybe about like 10 to 15 years ago when, zombie things weren't as played out, and if this show didn't deal with production issues, due to overworking of the staff, like we see with a lot of animes, I think this one would have made some more noise. Even so, this show still has a decent amount of hype around it, considering it got a Netflix adaptation movie released right when the anime. So basically the story is, imagine you're working a typical office job for a big, exploitive company in Tokyo. Every day is miserable, and then out of nowhere, you never have to go to work again because of a zombie apocalypse. After this, you decide to make a bucket list of the things you want to do before you become a zombie and make it a goal to cross it all off before dying. That's the main gist of this story with our main character, Akira, but it also adds some other elements with some, dirty comedy, funny characters, and if you've ever been to Japan, you also get to see some pretty cool scenery that might remind you of your trip. The colors in the show are crazy as well, and you can also tell a lot of the budget went into the intro because it changed quite a few times throughout the story. The show technically started back in summer, but after some production issues, the last episodes were delayed until December, which we recently got. So the story has a lot of gore and wacky moments, but also touches on making the most of your life with the limited amount of time you have and always chasing after your dreams. And that's what our main character Akira does. If you need some zombie in your life, I recommend you check this one out, especially, with the nice colors and just, hey man, my boys Kanaboon are hopping on the intro with this one, so this one had to be on my list. And the last one that we're actually going to be saying that, maybe you shouldn't have skipped from the fall season is going to be another mystery. This season has a lot of good mystery animes, and it's going to be Deranged Detective or Kamonohashi Ran's Forbidden Deductions. And this one is, if you've watched Undead Girl Murder Farce that we recommended from the summer anime, and we're needing something to fill your mystery desire, I definitely watched this one. The story follows Detective Totomaru Ishiki, who, to be quite honest, isn't really the best at his job, alone at least. Fast forward and we have Kamonohashi Ran, former brilliant detective who can solve any case, but years ago was banned from ever solving cases again, due to the suspects involved in his cases mysteriously dying. You get more details on this in the show, but these two pair up for their own reasons and take on a variety of cases in Japan, all while the former underperforming detective Toto gets the credit. So our true brilliant detective can't solve cases freely. You can see where the comedy comes from, where they're both trying to show fake that Toto is actually the one solving these cases. This show does a great job of giving you variety of cases, and it's pretty hard to predict the end results. You'll get a new case within every few episodes, with none of the cases taking longer than 3 episodes to solve, which keeps you interested and keeps the stories fresh. Even with these cases changing each episode though, the show also has a secret underlying plot that reveals itself as you get further along, setting up things for the future. All around, while I still personally enjoyed Undead Girl Murder Farce more, it's always nice to see how the cases play out and see just how bad of a detective you would make in these situations. If you're looking for something lighthearted, funny, and something to get your brain moving, I definitely recommend you check this one out.
そちらの方は僕は朝月かもじにわかトラゲファンさ一番入ってきちゃダメなやつ
And that's basically gonna round out the list that we have for the fall. Let me know in the comments if you felt like I missed anything. We definitely had some honorable mentions. Of course, we had Dark Gathering, but we talked about Dark Gathering from the summer, and then we also had Shy. I feel like Shy lacked in a few moments, a few things that maybe prevented me from putting this on the list. And we also had Ragna Crimson, but like I said, that also had a few things that I think, prevented it from getting on this list. And I didn't want to make this list too long. Like I said, I'm trying to give you the best of the best from what I've watched. Out of all the things, that maybe the lowest thing that I gave y'all on this list would probably be Under Ninja. But yeah, if y'all end up watching these animes that I recommend, make sure to let me know in the comments how you felt about it, if you're never going to be coming back to me for anime recommendations again, or if you might be coming back here again. But hey, I appreciate y'all for tuning in and watching this video. Let me know what other type of anime related content videos y'all would like to see me do on this channel, along with the gaming content. And I'm going to see y'all in the next video. We out.